In our package this morning, wife of State Governor charges National Directorate of Employment to intensify efforts in training youths and women. National Assembly Election Petition Tribunal upholds election of Chief Godswill Akpabio as Senator representing Ikot-Ekpene Senatorial District. And Catholic communication directors advised to use various media of communication to propagate the gospel of Jesus Christ. Details of these and other stories in a moment. Top of the morning, and thanks for joining us on the news. I am Samuel Udofia. The Conference of National Catholic Communication Directors has opened in the state. The three-day conference, which drew participants from the 36 states of the Federation, aims at discussing ways of harnessing the instruments of social communication to promote family values and build a virile society. The conference, which took place at the Cardinal Ekanem Pastoral Center, Ikot-Ekpene, was graced by the State Deputy Governor, Mr. Moses Ekpo. Patience John takes us there.
The Deputy Governor, Mr. Moses Ekpo, who acknowledged the contributions of the Catholic Communication Directors to the development of the Church and the society over the years, urged them to continue to use various media of communication to defend and uphold Christian teachings. The Deputy Governor charged them to take advantage of the new media and traditional communication system to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ, discourage practices that are not in tandem with the biblical teachings.
I wish to charge you today to take advantage of all modern communication channels, including the social media and citizen journalism platform, where at the time-tested traditional media plans in bringing the messages of mercy to all and suffering in our nation and in the world.
Representing the Catholic Bishop of Ikot-Ekpene Diocese, Reverend Father John Moore, said the conference is playing host to over 50 dioceses across the country and welcomed the participants. According to him, the power of the media cannot be overemphasized as its role spans through religion, politics, economy, among others.
This sets on its own an agenda for the Church to dialogue with the media and even to dare to evangelize the media.
The Director of Communications, Ikot-Ekpene Catholic Diocese, the Reverend Father Thomas Ebong, called on the participants to use their positions as communicators to lead Nigerians on national issues through writings and other forms of media outreach. He reasoned that failing in this responsibility could mean failing the people. Father Ebong called on his colleagues to engage in information sharing to raise national consciousness on issues of concern.
The Catholic bishops have laid a foundation for us all by becoming the voice of the voiceless in matters that affect our integrity as a people and cultural values as a nation.
Other speakers, including the Reverend Chris Anyanwu, who is the Director of Social Communications, Catholic Secretariat of Nigeria, said the group is resolved to use various means of communication to propagate the gospel of Jesus Christ, expose His love and mercies to mankind, as well as review the activities of the group in 2015. The theme of the conference is Communicating God's Mercies in a Multicultural Society. Patience John reporting.
The wife of the governor, Mrs. Martha Odom-Emmanuel, has commended the National Directorate of Employment, NDE, for its efforts in reducing unemployment in the country. Mrs. Martha Emmanuel made the commendation when she received a delegation of the management staff of National Directorate of Employment in Government House, Uyo. The story is here presented.
Mrs. Martha Odom-Emmanuel, who is the founder of Family Empowerment and Youth Reorientation Program, FEREP, advised the National Directorate of Employment not to relent in its efforts of training unemployed youth and women in the state, stressing that the administration of Ms. Odom-Emmanuel is committed to creating an enabling environment for the graduates of the training program to operate. The governor's wife described hard work, dedication and commitment as virtues that could guarantee success and urged NDE to continue to organize intensive training for trainees to achieve the desired results. Mrs. Emmanuel pointed out that the task of developing, training and empowering the youth and women remains the collective responsibility, hence the formation of the Family Empowerment and Youth Reorientation Program.
And I want to commend NDE for the job you've done so far in ameliorating these anomalies from our society. But so far, I'm impressed with 7,557 persons in Akwa Ibom have been touched.
In his remarks, the South-South Director of the National Directorate of Employment, Pastor Joseph Epoyan, lauded the strides of the state government towards the industrialization and pledged to key into it solicited assistance from the First Lady to empower the recently trained women on bead and wire works.
The ND adopted 4 major areas of intervention. These are: 1. The vocational skills acquisition training.
The State House of Assembly has lifted the embargo it placed on the Christian Pilgrims Welfare Board not to carry out screening of pilgrims for the 2015 pilgrimage to Israel. The resolution was taken when the Secretary of the Christian Pilgrims Welfare Board, Mrs. Rose Uko, appeared before the House to answer questions on the activities of the board. Answering questions from members, the Secretary said all intending pilgrims will pay a fee of 2,000 naira to obtain the pilgrim's form. On why the board should collect money from people when it knows only few chances are available for consideration, Mrs. Uko said the board is a revenue-generating organ of government, as it is given a target of 5 million naira per year. She said the state has, since she assumed the secretaryship in 2011, sent an average of 1,000 pilgrims every year to the Holy Land, adding that this year the board intends to send 600 pilgrims.
I am still in the process preparing for 2015. We are still in the process, have not yet lifted any. So I feel the right to brief the House that this pilgrimage issue is open to all religions. We will make sure we distribute the slots, the number approved to cover the entire state.
In their arguments, Mr. Lawrence Ogofa of Eket and Elder Friday Iwok of Abak said a religious exercise as pilgrimage should be non-profit making, and the Pilgrims Welfare Board should not be given a revenue target. Lifting the suspension, the Speaker, Elder Anyeka Nuko, observed that Akwa Ibom was one of the states that has paid for the 2015 pilgrimage, and it would be wrong not to allow those intending to participate. He directed Christian Pilgrims Welfare Board to furnish the House with a complete list of intending pilgrims from Akwa Ibom State for the 2015 pilgrimage. The state government has directed that the Dakada Creed be taught in primary schools across the state. The Permanent Secretary, State Universal Basic Education Board, Pastor Praise Okon, gave the directive during the a meeting with education secretaries from the 31 local government areas of the state. Imomana reports that the meeting also discussed the expectations of head and deputy head teachers in the education system.
Pastor Praise Okon urged the education secretaries to ensure that deputy head teachers return to classroom, explaining that there is lack of teachers in some schools in the state. Pastor Praise said head teachers can equally teach where there is inadequate teachers. He charged the education secretaries to keep a close watch on the newly appointed head and deputy head teachers and to discipline them where necessary. The Permanent Secretary pointed out that the appointment of head and deputy head teachers was based on seniority, adding that the appointment was to ensure that the school system is operated with maximum efficiency and productivity. Pastor Praise reiterated the state government's interest in the welfare of teachers and charged teachers to reciprocate the government's gesture. He said no primary school should accommodate more than one head teacher and 3 deputy head teachers. Pastor Praise noted that some primary school teachers who attend sandwich courses switched to the primary school system on completion of the course, adding that henceforth any teacher undergoing sandwich courses are to return to primary school to add value to the system.
Schools will be run by head teacher and maximum of 3 deputies. The area where we used to have a proliferation of deputy heads is over. We noticed that why people used to run to become deputy heads, that many of them were running away from doing their primary assignment, which is teaching.
At the interactive session, the education secretaries shared their experiences and challenges. At the end of the meeting, authentic list of head and deputy head teachers was released to the education secretaries.
A principal medical officer in the Ministry of Health, Dr. Celestine Akpan, has advised intending couples to know their hemoglobin genotype to ascertain their compatibility before marriage. Dr. Akpan gave the advice during a health lecture organized by the Ministry of Health at the AKBC headquarters of Dodoma Avenue, Uyo. He said by so doing, the intending couple will avoid a situation of having sickle cell children. According to Dr. Akpan, sickle cell disease is caused by abnormal hemoglobin in the red blood cells, adding that children usually inherit it from parents. He said it was improper for an AS partner to marry another AS, stressing that there is a tendency that the couple would produce sickle cell children. The principal medical officer pointed out that over 100,000 children are born with sickle cell annually, pointing out that there is no cure for sickle cell anemia. On hypertension, Dr. Akpan said it was necessary for every Akwa Ibom person to visit the hospital for regular medical checkup. And on diabetes, Dr. Akpan said the disease is on the increase, noting that the type 1 occurs in younger people, while the type 2 occurs in persons who are 40 years and above. The Director General of AKBC, Pastor Anietu Ukwe, expressed appreciation to the Ministry of Health for paying attention to the health needs of the people and for choosing AKBC for the lecture and the medical test. The lecture also featured free tests on diabetes, hypertension, and genotype. We'll take a break, and when we're back, National Assembly Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Abuja yesterday upholds election of Chief Godswill Akpabio in a moving state.
Akwa Ibomites, rise to the faith of greatness. Rise to the faith that with God all things are possible. Rise to the fact that as a people we can move beyond biases, ethnicity, religion, and gender. Rise to togetherness. Rise to chart a new course for us, our children, and a generation of Akwa Ibomites unborn. Hold fast the confession of our hope that without wavering, for he who promised is faithful. Arise to the faith that Akwa Ibom was created to be great.
I arise to the faith that Akwa Ibom is destined to be great.
I am an Akwa Ibomite.
And I rise to the faith of greatness.
Ahmed Akanda, Akwa Ibomites, Idakeda.
Akwa Ibom, Dakada.
You're still watching AM News on AKBC, and I'm Samuel Odofia. The National Assembly Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Abuja yesterday upheld the election of Chief Godswill Akpabio as the senator representing Ikot-Ekpene Senatorial District. The tribunal chairman, Justice Godi Anunihu, while upholding the election of Senator Akpabio, awarded a penalty of 30,000 naira against the petitioner, Mr. Nibe Okorie of the ABC. The Election Petition Tribunal, which also had Justice Lamido and Adebusoye as members, said the case was dismissed for lack of merit. The Commissioner for Investment, Commerce and Industry, Barrister Emmanuel Enoidem, has restated the determination of Governor Udom Emmanuel to revamping all moribund industries in the state. Barrister Enoidem stated this while appearing on the AKBC TV live program unveiling the mandate. The Commissioner said the resuscitation of the Peacock Paint Factory at Etinnen by the Governor to mark his 100 days in office was a pointer to making all ailing industries functional. Barrister Enoidem maintained that industrialization is in the front burner of the present administration, explaining that the spirit of entrepreneurship in Akwa Ibom people, the government has invested much in foreign training of people to boost manpower for industrial growth.
We definitely going to ensure that all moribund industries in Akwa Ibom State, are back to life as much as we can, whether by resuscitating the existing factory where it is possible, or by changing the factory configuration to meet modern trend. That is a target. That's a strategy.
Barrister Enoidem, who described manpower development as a continuous process towards achieving the desired result, said the Udom administration has received collaboration from International Forum of Investors from the UK, US, Israel, Singapore and Turkey. The Commissioner listed the groundbreakings for the automobile company lead factory at Ichu, AIT and fertilizer plants at Bak, as well as a ShopRite at the Ibom Tropicana shopping mall, as some steps taken to industrialize the state. Barrister Enoidem called on the people to continue to support Governor Udom Emmanuel in his commitment to sustain superior performance in the state. Tune in for full text of the program. The recognition of arts, science, technology and industry as culture products, which are indispensable agents for change, has been described as a panacea for the development in any society. The head of Arts, Ministry of Culture and Tourism, Mr. Emmanuel Unung, stated this during a solo exhibition of arts by Dr. Inyobong Umotong at the National Gallery of Arts in Uyo. Ayanopo reports that the solo exhibition had as its theme celebrating womanhood.
Unveiling the solo exhibition artworks of Dr. Inyobong Umotong, the head of Arts, Minister of Culture and Tourism, Mr. Emmanuel Unung, and the chairman on the occasion, Mr. Gadi Sandi, who is a special assistant to the Governor on Culture, said art is a respectable and noble profession. The duo lauded the exhibitor for the exhibition and for celebrating womanhood, noting that the strength of any nation lie on women. The speakers emphasized that artwork has a voice, speaks volume, but described as disheartening the fact that despite Nigeria's covetous position in artistic tradition, the nation still clamor after technology transfer from developed nations.
As the state is gearing towards industrialization, let me make bold to correct the gross misconception that science and technology, the law of arts, can help to translate our vision of industrial emancipation into reality. I'm so happy that Dr. Umotong has come this far, and everybody knows that to be a woman is an occupation. Today we are not celebrating Dr. Umotong, but we are celebrating womanhood.
In their messages of goodwill, the representative of the Vice Chancellor of the University of Uyo, Professor Enora, and the curator of the National Art Gallery, Mr. Stephen Ezurike, said women should be encouraged to attain financial independence. They appreciated Dr. Inyobong Umotong for joining women who have made significant imprints globally with her artwork.
So, painting is something that is quite abstract in a lot of instances. So you have to have a lot of the creative juices flowing.
Introducing the exhibitor, the father of ceramics in the state, Dr. Enoide Mudo, described her as an artist in focus, the first Nigerian woman to bag doctorate degree in painting, and a mother and wife who has never cheated on her profession. Speaking on the journey so far, the solo exhibitor, Dr. Eniebong Omotong, owed her success to her mother, her husband, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Uyo, late Professor Stella Idiong, Bene Kanem, and others who inspired her to achieve her dreams. She said she had the desire and passion for art since her childhood, charging parents not to kill the vision of their children by choosing careers for them, and added that art contributes immensely to the economy of any nation. Works exhibited by Dr. Eniebong Omotong were Nigerian Women of Impact, Legacy of Women, The Forbidden, Dance and Rhythm, The Hawker, New Moon, Rachel's Gary, Nature Power, and Female Achiever. Others were Okanafun's Blue River, Catwalk, Not My Fault, Keke Mama, and Women Riots of 1929, among others. Eyageno Paul, reporting.
Vice President Yemi Osibanjo calls for renewed partnership and commitment to nation building as he declares open the 21st National Economic Summit. And in the United States, Democratic Party holds first presidential debate ahead of 2016 presidential polls. Details of these and more in our national and foreign news with Samuel Ayara.
Nigeria's Vice President Yemi Osibanjo has said that the task of nation building was a shared responsibility, identifying knowledge, human resources, and capital as more substantial requirements for development. Osibanjo, who was representing President Muhammadu Buhari while declaring open the 21st National Economic Summit, called on private and public organizations to work closely towards the country's economic development. He called for radical improvements on bureaucratic delays in obtaining pre-investment processes, as well as adequate investments in infrastructure, especially power, roads, and technology. The summit was largely attended by key players in the public, private, and corporate sectors. The Senate on Wednesday continued with another round of screening of ministerial nominees sent to it by President Muhammadu Buhari. Those who appeared for Wednesday's screening included former governors Babatunde Fashola and Chris Ngige. Others were Ibe Kachiku, Al-Hazan, Dalong, Adelshun, Shitu, Aderika, and Abubakar Malami, who all answered questions put forward to them, expressing what they can offer to change situations in the country. Meanwhile, in what seemed like a swift turnaround, President Muhammadu Buhari has also sent a letter to the Senate withdrawing the ministerial nomination of immediate past Deputy Governor of Niger State, Ahmed Musa Ibeto, while Rotimi Amechi was delisted for failure of the Ethics Committee to conclude on the pending protest against his nomination. At least 3 Palestinians were killed and 2 Israelis critically wounded as violence continues in occupied territories, according to Israeli police spokesman Miki Rosenfeld. The animosity resumed on Monday after a stabbing attack in Pisgat Zif, a Jewish settlement, which resulted in 2 victims being seriously injured and hospitalized. As the unrest continues to spread, at least 27 Palestinians have been killed by Israeli forces since October 3rd, and another 1,999 people have been injured, while 4 Israelis have been killed with 67 so far injured. Hillary Clinton on Tuesday emerged unscathed from the Democratic Party's first debate for the 2016 presidential campaigns, putting up a calm and confident disposition. The debate, which saw the former Secretary of State stops, also featured Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont, former Governors Chaffee, Martins O'Malley, and ex-Senator Jim Webb. High point of the debate saw the 67-year-old Clinton keen on injecting excitement into her campaign while relying on the Democratic support base, even as Sanders attempted to test whether his political revolution can translate to the national stage.
That's our package. You can also watch AKBC TV News online by logging on to akbconline.org or follow us on Twitter at AKBC450 or on Facebook at AKBC Channel 45. And now to end the news, the top stories. The wife of the state governor, Mrs. Martha Udom Emmanuel, has charged the National Directorate of Employment to intensify efforts to training youths and women. Mrs. Udom Emmanuel gave the charge when she received the management staff of the National Directorate of Employment in Government House, Uyo. We also brought you a report that the State House of Assembly has lifted embargo on the screening of 2015 intending pilgrims. That's our package. Thanks for watching and have a great morning. Good morning.